back to the Crypto Report, everybody. I am Crypto Kip. Today, we got a heck of a lot to talk about when it comes to crypto, Bitcoin, Crypto.com, and just regulation coming around the globe. Whether you're talking about the banking sector or crypto, of course, right now you've got people building anti-crypto armies and running for Senate. We're going to talk a little bit about that in the video. Also, we're going to talk about the recent comments that Matt Damon made about Crypto.com and the ad that he did. Now, very, very interesting. We're going to dive into that one because what are people doing right now? They're spreading the FUD. It's a FUD alert, guys, and they're spinning the story. But really, that's what media does best, and that's why we come to you guys live every Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time to talk about everything going on in crypto, unspinning the web of lies that's spun every single day by the mainstream media. And of course, I wouldn't be doing it today if I wasn't here with my brother on the channel. Blacksea, how you doing?
Doing great. Happy to be here as always. Love diving into this, picking it piece by piece apart and getting to the true facts of everything and giving that info to you guys.
Let's get into it. And you know what, guys, too? Smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you didn't know it already, we are giving away $1,000 worth of Bitcoin to 10,000 subscribers, and we're getting really very close to that. So that's coming soon. So make sure you guys subscribe and hit the like button if you like that giveaway. We're going to get into some crypto price predictions and some charting at the end of this, but let's get a quick little update and hop into some of the hot, juicy stories going on in the crypto market today. Welcome everybody in the chat. Nazar, I see you there, brother. I see Ron Wilson. How you doing? Good to have you. Crow Bro, thanks everybody. Let's look at it and get a feel for where we're at right now to start off some of the news. Crypto market cap sitting at 1.16 trillion, which is great. Bitcoin dominance back up. Blacksea, you've been hawking on how, hey, this Bitcoin dominance is due to climb. You know, maybe we're getting to the top of that. We'll have to see a little bit about the Bitcoin dominance, but Bitcoin's looking really strong. You know, it's down 0.56% over the last 7 days. How's that for you?
Yeah, you know, all in all, this Bitcoin dominance is kind of where my laser focus is really lasered in on and focused in on, because really that's kind of what determines whether or not, or I shouldn't say whether or not, but when we will have a altcoin season, because we do need to see Bitcoin dominance come up. And all in all, Bitcoin dominance is coming up. The price of Bitcoin is coming up with it, and the altcoins are bleeding against it. It may not be anything significant right now, but if we were to pull the data from the past events, and you know we always preach can't base future events based on past events, but history does rhyme, then hypothetically right now would be a time to be buying Bitcoin and wait for a sideways price move after Bitcoin dominance comes up to really start to see an altcoin season.
Yeah, kind of waiting for that altcoin rally to start, which is just the most exciting part of a crypto bull run, really. It's fun watching a $500 billion market cap move. Bitcoin's market cap, $500 billion. It's fun to see that move, but it is so fun to see a coin like Kronos, which is only at 1.7 billion. If trillions flow in, the amount of money it takes to move this thing, significant percentages, and other altcoins that are in this rank, Arbitrum, right? Vicha, any of these coins, you do your research, guys, but anything that's a lower market cap, when the market moves and the altcoin rally happens, it could absolutely be huge. But let's start this thing off. He's on the thumbnail. I talked about him yesterday. Matt Damon came out yesterday, and I'd play the video for you guys, but check out, I did a video yesterday on exactly what Matt Damon said. If you want to see what he said, check out the video I did on this yesterday. But the reason I'm bringing it back up today is because now there's a change to the narrative. So let me point out, first of all, Crypto Potato was the publication that only reported on this. It was the Associated Press that originally got Hollywood star Matt Damon on the red carpet to comment on why he did the Crypto.com ad. And so this video was then kind of distributed, and only Crypto Potato yesterday was looking at it, and they just kind of showed the video and made a couple comments about it. Well, now every other news publication came out. Decrypt came out with their own version of this. And so the quote for them and their headline on this story now is, Matt Damon says he did a Crypto.com ad due to a down year at clean water foundation. The story goes, guys, in case you missed it, is Matt Damon obviously did the Fortune Favors the Brave ad for Crypto.com. He got mocked on South Park for doing this ad and through media across the board as the bear market came and crypto started to fall. People were throwing shade at Matt Damon, and honestly, it was hilarious, and the market was falling. So really, it was no fault of Matt Damon, no fault of Crypto.com. It's just timing in the market, right? You can't control that. That's just the 4-year cycle, folks. But
I got to make a comment on that because,
ahead.
If it was anything other than crypto, like let's say Matt Damon endorsed like a sports betting app, like DraftKings or something.
Or how
let's
about
say
like
he did
Credit Suisse Bank?
Yeah. Okay, sure. That even better. If he did that, and then the next year that stock or that company cut in half in value, or maybe even maybe went bankrupt and disappeared, nobody would be saying anything.
No.
Nothing. He would not be catch any flack for it because, hey, I was just an actor. They paid me to do a commercial. But because it's crypto, it's a different story. That just goes to show, it just emboldens my thesis on that we are at war with crypto, guys. The governments, the powers that be, the banks, they are at war with crypto.
Yeah, and you know what? We're going to talk about that too, because there's literally the quote in one of these headlines I pulled for us today, Blacksea, is a senator, this senator, everybody loves her in crypto, building an anti-crypto army, literally. So you say war, I say, well, anti-crypto army. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. And they got a bunch of flack for this commercial. And I get it, right? Let's give the people that wanted to throw the hate credit. They had this commercial comes up, and then the market crashes. Crypto.com crashed, 80%, 90%? I love the coin, but it crashed immediately after this. So they point and laugh. It's going to be funny, though, 5, 10, 20 years from now, when Crypto.com is still around and the coin is, way, way up. We're going to look back and just kind of like laugh that, well, people were FUDing it. We were buying the entire way down. We were buying these altcoins as we were waiting for kind of an altcoin rally, buying some Bitcoin, flooding it into the alts, playing the game. Meanwhile, people like to just point the finger. I want you to say this one again, because it's a really good one you've been saying lately. First, they
ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win.
Yeah. And so they laughed at Matt Damon.
That's
and
a
now
true statement right now.
It is. Well, Matt Damon got questioned, guys, on the red carpet, whether or not, or why. Why did he do this ad? And he's like, well, chuckles a little bit. I did this because I have a foundation, water.org, and I wanted to raise money for this. We were having a down year, and I gave all the money that I made, said Matt Damon, from the Crypto.com ad to my foundation. When Crypto.com found out about this, they actually heard this and then donated an additional $1 million to this. Now, that is an incredible story, but it doesn't stop there. Now, a day goes by, and these are the kind of narratives you get. Matt Damon says he did that dumb Crypto.com ad because his water nonprofit was down. That's not a quote. That's not a fair headline.
He didn't say that at all.
No, he didn't. He did a little chuckle, but here's the thing. Let's also kind of take another perspective on this, right? You're Matt Damon and you do this ad, and then the stock crashes, and then FTX collapses, and now you see Kim Kardashian, you see Lindsay Lohan, you see Jake Paul, you see Shaq, you see all these celebrities getting sued by not only, for the FTX promotions, also for this Ethereum Max thing that people were talking about. You just see all these lawsuits come. Now, you get questioned on the red carpet. You're going to tell people that, hey, I donated it, or I gave the money back, or you're probably going to want to make sure, you avoid any issues, right? I mean, lawsuits have been going around, but though he and he did donate the money. This is true, and this is his foundation. By the way, in case you guys didn't see it, check it out, water.org. It's a thing. You can see he's one of the founders, our founders, Matt Damon and Gary White. So this is a real thing. I don't think this is some story to dodge a legal bullet, if you will. And if you really look at the video, he really kind of praises crypto.com. And so it's just terrible to hear that, they say, did that dumb crypto.com ad. And he said that he was really excited and really grateful and appreciative that crypto.com donated this extra $1 million that they didn't have to do.
Talk about putting words in somebody's mouth, because that's so crazy. Just using adjectives like that, and he never said any of that. And all in all, what these media articles should be focusing on is that not only did he donate that money, crypto.com matched it. They had no obligations to do that, but they matched it. Probably good for publicity, obviously, but I'm going to be honest, I haven't heard about that until now.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Said good for publicity, right? And totally, right? It would be. But what's crazy to me is this happened a long time ago. And this didn't get out into the public. And it's only now. And it's because he got asked a question. I'm like, so it's not even like this was a publicity stunt for crypto.com either, really.
Yeah, no, not at all. It was honestly just a act of good service. But now, sure, it's good for publicity. But it's a shame because we're focusing on Matt Damon saying things that he didn't say in these articles. They're not talking about how. Yeah, you're right. He in that video, he really does almost praise crypto.com, saying, like they didn't have to do that, and they did that.
Yeah, and he kind of chuckles too. Like he was nervous. I would be too. I mean, if I was an actor and I'm just trying to do my thing, and then I do this commercial, and then this commercial gets a bunch of flack, I get it. He had a little nervous laugh, but all in all, it was a positive message. So this is what you get, and this is why we do these streams. This is why we do these videos, guys. They spin webs in the media. They put the word dumb into this headline, and it just changes the whole story, really, to anybody that reads it at a glance. What's up, Oscar? I see you in the chat. Oscar Ramos in the chat. Good to have you, brother. Thanks for joining. But yeah, very cool charity donation for Matt Damon and Crypto.com. So little update for you guys there. Let's talk a little bit about ETH staking, Blacksea. Last live stream, we had somebody in the chat ask us a very good question, very, very good question, whether or not we believed that Ethereum would run up leading up to this event or after this this new upgrade, the Shanghai upgrade coming for Ethereum. A couple things to note before we break this thing down is this upgrade coming for Ethereum will allow ETH stakers to unstake. Okay, that's one thing. But then you also think about a Bitcoin bull cycle, and that revolves around a Bitcoin halvening. That's a very key event. We've seen runs from Ethereum on upgrades in the past. We've also not seen runs from Ethereum upgrades in the past. What is your thought on this story? And do you think, Blacksea, that there is any kind of run with this, or is the timing in the market just not right, or what are your feelings?
I think that there's a good chance that you don't see a move, maybe even a move to the downside when this upgrade goes into effect, and then fast forward a couple months after that, I think you'll start to see it catch up. I feel like a lot of these events are kind of sell the news events, but I do also think that it is something interesting to think about is that these people are getting a lot of their money unlocked. Do you think that they're going to sell them, Crypto Kip?
You know what? I think there are going to be, I mean, I'll be honest, guys. I think this could be a buy the rumor, sell the news. It's easy to do. And buy the rumor, sell the news could be a week-long thing. It could be a 2-day thing. It could be a 2-hour thing, right? But I think the price is moving up because crypto's moving up. Maybe Ethereum's moving up. It's really not even moving up that much. I saw a news story the other day, Blacksea, and it was like, Ethereum bumps 2% leading up to the upgrade. It's like down since it was like 2 weeks ago. So really, there's really not a huge, there was a pump because Bitcoin was pumping, I think. And so I think trying to tie any pump into this upgrade is just kind of trying to tell a story that's not really there. But I do think that the unlock could cause a little bit of a downward move in temper. Maybe it's
I agree with that. I agree with that. I will also say that I think the majority of people that do have Ethereum staked if they went out of their way to stake it, especially if it wasn't through like Coinbase,
Yeah.
so people that actually have some knowledge when it comes to DeFi, if they went out of their way to stake Ethereum, I think they probably know that there's a 4-year cycle about the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, and if they do know that, then it would behoove them to probably just hold on to it or even unstake and just hold it. I don't think
Yeah.
that they're going to sell into fiat right now, especially in the time of this 4-year cycle that we're sitting at right now. It would be silly.
Yeah, it really would be. Look, I mean, it's so funny that we're kind of even talking, because it's like the story is like everything's at a discount. I'm just buying it. This doesn't matter whether it pumps, leading up to this. It doesn't matter. But and by the way, Crypto Keeper, see your super chat. Thank you so much. Maybe it's a super sticker. Thanks so much, brother. I really appreciate that. We got a great community here, guys. Sometimes even if you're in the chat and you're staying active, we've had gifted memberships on several streams. So if you want to become a member of the Crypto Report, you can sign up on your own in the link in the description down below, or stick around long enough and you might get gifted a membership. You know what? Matter of fact,
it definitely happens.
I think Ron Wilson is a great example. I think Ron Wilson might have gotten gifted a membership. But let me know if I'm wrong, Ron. I don't know. But thanks so much for the super chat, Crypto Keeper. But Blacksea, back to this. An interesting thought here too is Ethereum staking tokens are jumping. So looked into this a little bit more, and there are other so when you stake Ethereum, for those of you guys that don't know out there, and you want to stake, just straight up through Ethereum, not wrapped Ethereum or anything, you got to have 32 ETH. Now there's some services that allow you to do less or more, or less than that, but there are a lot of very popular options right now, like Lido Finance and like Rocket Pool, where you can just do fractions of Ethereum and you can stake them, and they're not locked up for an extended period of time. You can pull them and move them at any time you want. And so this upgrade might have a little more outflow, even thinking about this a little more, because maybe people will be moving their token out of Ethereum in some capacity if they want to stake, right? If you want to take part of your Ethereum bag and you want to stake it and have more flexibility with that, maybe you do want to park it in a Lido Finance or like a Rocket Pool or a project you like. Do your research, guys. I don't know too much about these projects. I personally haven't used them myself, full transparency. But these projects jumped like 2x in the last week leading up to this. So part of the reason for that makes sense, right? You're not forced to lock your stake up.
Yeah, that's pretty beneficial when it comes to Ethereum staking. I mean, I know a lot of people when it first came out that you could stake your Ethereum, nobody knew when they were going to get it back, and it's honestly been I think probably a year and a half since it came out, and people had no idea when they would be able to get their Ethereum out. Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's not very common in the crypto space. Usually, you have a vesting period or a notion of when you'll be able to actually have your crypto back.
Yeah. And it's going to be very interesting, too, to see, Blacksea, you've been talking about this, too, getting a little bit more into DeFi, just the way that DeFi is going to kind of start to get back into the narrative. I think that it's starting to happen. I think there is starting to be more rumblings of, how can I make more money in DeFi? And that's probably what you get out of this conversation on this Lido Finance deal, right? They're looking to make more money on staking, have more flexibility. It's going to be very interesting. Can we get another DeFi summer? You remember the DeFi summer back in 20? What was it?
20, oh yeah, getting those Uniswap tokens was a great time. Yeah,
that Uniswap drop was big. That was the.
Well, I'll tell you what. The bear market is for DeFi. The bear market is for DeFi. It's when the markets are trading sideways, that's the time to be messing around in DeFi and seeing what kind of APY you can generate. It is a little bit more advanced, so if you're new to DeFi, I'd recommend you look at like maybe Uniswap to start off with. But there's lots of other cool different ways to make money in the crypto space instead of just buying and holding.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot of great ways to do it, whether it's dabbling with NFTs or whether it's providing liquidity or borrowing against your own money or whatever it might be. There's a lot of really creative ways to do it. We'll try to get more content out on that here on the channel as well. But Ron Wilson, I see you put out in the chat. No, he joined a couple weeks ago on his own, and then the next week there was 3 subscriptions gifted out. Oh, and he missed out. Sorry, but Ron, stick around long enough. We're going to have more perks coming for the Crypto Report members. We'll have giveaways specifically for members over time. So, you got an advantage on the Loaded Lion piece coming up, and there will be a lot more coming, Ron. So hang in there, brother. But good. I'm glad you joined in. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Glad to have you as a part of the community. Crow Bro, congratulating you as well. But here's something I want to get into a little bit more. So a couple articles I'll share, and then we'll kind of get into this. But Brazil and China struck a deal in an agreement to ditch the US dollar. This is extremely interesting. As banks have been starting to fail, okay? Banks have been failing. The dollar is dealing with inflation. We're not really in a great public eye right now. You look across the globe right now, and then you look at the story of how much debt the U.S. economy has and how we've printed money and how our banks are failing, and then it's spread into other banks and other countries failing as well. You could really argue that Credit Suisse Bank, which is not a U.S. bank, they failed maybe because U.S. banks started to fail, right? And so it's kind of this trickle effect. Was this caused because the dollar is one of the main currencies of the world and because the Fed has been printing money and hurt our banking system, which in turn hurt the banking system globally, considering the dollar is so high and mighty to everybody? Well, this thing, guys, this kind of story where the dollar is getting threatened really, really drives a narrative for crypto and for the U.S. to kind of get with the program. Because if their currency is really collapsing, if our currency and the U.S. is really collapsing or getting ditched, well, we got to start figuring something else out. And it's not only China and Brazil either. It's Saudi Arabia considering accepting the yuan instead of U.S. dollars for Chinese oil sales. This is a big story.
Yeah, it is a very big story. Also, I will note that today, Michael Burry from The Big Short, the man that shorted the housing market and the banks back in 2008 when we had that financial crisis, he came out today and he said he was wrong to tell everybody to sell in February, which is very, very, very interesting because he's not a type of person to admit his wrongs. And it's very surprising. And the reason why he's saying that is because, well, it seems that the Federal Reserve is printing money again. Mm-hmm. And since the Federal Reserve is printing money again, well, that means it's time, the party's back on. You're going to see stocks moving up. And honestly, when the money printer's on, the last place you really want your money is in cash because it's devaluing. Well, so it's very, very tricky.
Because the real question we're kind of starting to ask now, Blacksea, is could the U.S. dollar collapse? Could it really collapse? In your mind, is this something that we lose it, it's gone?
Man, I don't think I can say whether or not I think it's possible. Anything's possible, but I'm not going to say that it's going to happen or it's not going to happen. However, I wouldn't be surprised that if nobody in the world uses the U.S. dollar except for the United States, that's a problem. That is definitely a problem. And I think that there are ways out of that. And unfortunately, you'll probably start to see the central bank digital currencies arise around that time, which I'd recommend stay away from that, definitely, as best as you can. But I could see that arising. There's definitely a chance. I mean, it's unheard of that people, or other countries, I should say, are ditching the U.S. dollar. That's unheard of. Nobody would have expected that 20 years ago. And now that we've come to this point because of the destruction of our economy, well, anything's possible.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, it really is. The dominoes are starting to fall. Well, this was a very interesting article too from Forbes because I'm going to kind of read some of these guys. I really want to get into this because it's really kind of at the forefront of the conversation. As the banks are failing, as people are ditching the U.S. dollar or thinking about ditching the U.S. dollar, you got to ask yourself, can this collapse? Well, key takeaways: a currency collapses when a country's currency loses all of its value and becomes worthless for us to use. Generally, it's a result of political or economic upheaval or hyperinflation or war. Let's check a box here because you could argue some of these are an issue in the U.S., right? It's not a common occurrence because we've seen it happen before in various places around the world. That's an interesting statement. It actually kind of contradicts itself. It's not a common occurrence, but It's happened in various places. So it's possible, guys. It is possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we got to note.
You can't say that it's not possible because
Right.
literally the way that things are going right now, it's definitely possible.
It's possible. It's possible. And they say it's a risk to be aware of. You could protect yourself against it. And they say also, well, the dollar could technically collapse. It's backing the largest economy in the world, and its status as a global reserve currency makes that highly unlikely. But this does not take into account the recent headlines, as it is status as the global reserve. Well, it's slowly becoming potentially not the global reserve currency. That is something that's becoming increasingly. If Saudi takes yuan for oil, that really threatens the reserve currency narrative for the US dollar. And then you got a more of a battle with China, and just increasingly so. Brazil's ditching it, dealing with China, right? You heard a lot about China, a couple other points though. So, what is the currency collapse? They go into asking about this, and then they give points like, how does this happen? Well, hyperinflation. Yeah, people have been talking about hyperinflation. I don't think it's coming, necessarily, but people have been scared about it. So there's definitely fears for hyperinflation, political instability. You could absolutely argue that there's political instability. Now, you look at the war that's going on in Russia and Ukraine right now and what's happening with that. That's not directly on our shores, but we are involved in that in some way or another, guys. And to be honest with you, too, you look at the debates that have been going on right now between the left and the right. Whatever side you're on, I don't care. That's not what the point of this channel is, and that's not what we're really talking about here. But as well as I know, at Thanksgiving dinner, when those kind of conversations come up, regardless of who's saying what, if there's a disagreement, it's very unstable, that conversation. People are very, very one-sided on their political views right now. And you're either with us or you're against us, seems to be a mentality. So you could argue, too, there is some political instability here. High debt. We've clearly got high debt. And then they talk about the dollar's U.S. special status and go into basically currencies can and do collapse, but it's not a minor event. When currencies collapse, it's down to a significant economic or political event in a country that has a huge impact on its citizens. And I'm going to argue that the pandemic is this thing that had the huge impact on its citizens. And we printed the trillions, I think trillions of dollars during the pandemic.
Yes, trillions.
This is how we got to this inflation issue. They try to sway us away from the idea that the dollar could collapse in this article. But as I read through this article, Blacksea, I'll be honest, it kind of made me feel like we are gearing up for a dollar collapse.
Oh no. Well, to calm everybody's nerves here, if you're listening right now and you own crypto, you're already protected, really. Especially buying Bitcoin right now. That's why I'm heavily buying into Bitcoin right now because honestly, it's unfortunate that it's gotten to this point, but that seems like the safest place for money, which is crazy because let's rewind to like the 2017 cycle. I'd say, put your money in the S&P 500. You're good to go. Right now, I'm like, I don't know about that. I will say, though, that I do believe that stocks will probably go up as well if we're printing money. If we're printing money, that means there's more money to be put into the stocks. The stocks will inflate because inflation will keep going up. But all in all, I do think that Bitcoin is kind of the answer here.
Yeah, I'm just buying that Bitcoin, buying that BTC. Everything that's happening is just making the case for it. And very, very interesting, too, right? They're saying on one side, here's the quote. We think things have stabilized significantly, the White House official told reporters. Meanwhile, Biden asked banking regulators to toughen some rules after recent bank failures. Well, why would you be trying to toughen the rules, and why are you trying to scramble? Because really that's what's going on. We're scrambling as a government to try to fix this banking issue. And so, we think things have stabilized significantly. Well, meanwhile, they are trying to toughen these regulations. And also the White House is calling on federal banking agencies to reverse the Trump administration's regulatory rollbacks. Now, guys, this is not trying to get political here. I don't care who you support. It's not my place to say. That's not what we talk about here on the channel. But it is very interesting to see one political party blame the other political party to try to move on from the real issue at hand. That is, the Fed messed up and the banks are failing and the US dollar is at risk. That's really what we're dealing here with, guys. It's just so darn obvious to see this. And we're coming up with a bunch of excuses. And now you have the US FDIC telling signature banks' crypto clients to close all their accounts. Mandatory, must close all their accounts by April 5th. And if you read into this, they actually say those are the deposits that we are encouraging customers to move before April 5th. They're talking about crypto clients of theirs. They're firing their crypto clients. And if they have not withdrawn that money by that day, they're going to mail the checks out and just kick them out with a check. This is so obvious. I mean, I hate to be a broken record, guys, but this is really just the truth. And so the best thing that we can do as a crypto channel is continue to talk about, and call these fake news stories, right? These cover-ups, these cover-up ideas, call a spade, call it what it is. They're threatened by crypto. They're threatened by crypto banks, and it's so darn obvious right now. And you do see too, and I thought I pulled the story up first, Blacksea, but as the FDIC is telling signature banks crypto clients to close their accounts, and we know that America and the US does not want to host crypto companies in their American banks. Hong Kong is putting together a $100 million fund right now. China, you remember all the China bans on crypto? Hong Kong, as it's making deals with Brazil, as they're potentially going to be able to use the yuan with the Saudi Arabia oil, Hong Kong is raising a $100 million fund right now for crypto services. They're trying to get more into crypto because they see an opportunity.
That's why I've been saying, like, the U.S. can't afford to be heavy-handed with regulation because people will just go overseas. People will, especially people with money that have crypto, will just go overseas and go to the places where they're welcome, where there's honestly a renaissance in the financial. It'll be like a renaissance era in the financial world. And if U.S. is heavy-handed with that, it's not only going to push people away, it's going to put the U.S. behind massively. Mm-hmm. They can't afford it. They literally can't afford it.
Yeah, no, they can't. And they're just going to continue to come up with all these. Again, we keep talking about these road bumps, but eventually one day they're going to probably have to remove those road bumps and probably get with the program. That's kind of what we're seeing. As these funds are growing in countries overseas, I think it's obvious. As the U.S. FDIC is telling Signature Bank that, hey, we don't want to deal with crypto. Because remember, the narrative is it was crypto's fault that the banks were collapsed. That was a narrative. Some others want to say it was the opposing political parties' administration's regulatory rollbacks that were the issue. Well, the truth really might be, guys, for these Silicon Valley Bank collapses, and I definitely think, too, I guess this ties into it, but one of the world's richest men knows why the Silicon Valley Bank really failed. People on iPhones. Well, what does this mean? What is this story? Why are you bringing this up, Crypto? Because basically a tweet goes out and then it goes viral and everybody hears about it. And as senators and politicians were saying, don't bank with crypto, and people were spreading fear about Silvergate Bank, and then Silicon Valley Bank got into issues. It was all about social media and iPhones and people just having access to such quick information. The real reason the bank failed is because there was a bank run, guys. Word got around so fast that money started to flow out so fast. They don't actually have the money in the bank, and it was just inevitable. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy that they FUDed the banks, and then the banks started to crash, and they started to crash so fast because media is so quick and you can get access to information so quickly that it absolutely killed the banks. But that's not really the narrative that we're kind of going to. Instead, it gets political, or you blame crypto, or it gets political. It's really kind of funny. And now we've got publications coming out and saying a little bit about this. This was something. And now let's talk again. Back to the iPhone thing, right? And word spreads around fast. This is not confirmed, guys, by the way, but Blacksea, you and I were talking about this. The new Restrict Act could mean 20 years in prison for anybody using a VPN. And guys, here's Binance. I'm a U.S. citizen. I can't use Binance. But maybe you heard the story of the FDIC suing Binance for instructing U.S. civilians how to use a VPN to access their platform. Well, now maybe you're going to get 20 years in prison if you do use that VPN because you're not allowed to use this product.
It's absolutely absurd.
It's
absolutely absurd. I can't see this getting put in place But if it is, I mean, that's just insane overreach. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's the internet. I mean, what else? I don't know. It kind of makes me speechless because you're basically taking everybody's freedom away. And in the quote unquote land of the free, you're not allowed to use decentralized finance apps. Why? What's the reasoning again? Oh, yeah, to protect you from your financial decisions. Yet we have casinos around every corner and you can go sports betting. It just doesn't make sense. It don't jive with it.
Yeah, it's because they don't want us to make money, is what it sounds like, really. Like, I don't want them to make any money. But don't freak out, guys, because this is not passed. Now, the truth behind this and why this came into existence is because TikTok and really the fear of cyber criminals and cybersecurity and China spying on U.S. citizens through TikTok. And potentially even now, there's been some other stories that they're basically just trying to corrupt our youth, and that basically in China, you get math equations on TikTok and they try to make people smarter. But in the US, you get like these silly TikTok dances. And so the real story here is that the US is trying to ban TikTok. But of course, politicians do what politicians do. And they add in all this overreach. Like you said, Blacksea, they're overreaching and they're just adding extra little taglines into the bill. Whenever there's a chance for a politician to put together a bill or some regulatory piece of legislation, they're going to put in all the extra goodies. And here's this other contingency and this and this and this so that I can get everything that I want. They're going to have to review this. I don't think that it's going to be passed that you can't use a VPN. There's some legitimate reasons to want to use a VPN. One is just for privacy. If I want to protect my data, maybe I do want to use ExpressVPN. Maybe I want to use some of these other VPNs out there to protect my data from the government listening into what I'm doing or looking at what I'm searching.
Or how about a website taking your data and selling it, and next thing you know, you're getting spammed with emails or you're getting spammed with phone calls.
Yep, I have so many emails too that I have an email address where I can't even see emails that come in. I got so much junk mail. It's already out of control. It's really interesting to see, and as you start to think about this, you do start to think about what happens with the crypto regulation, but then you kind of get the comfort of Bitcoin and knowing you can't really regulate Bitcoin, right? You can force us that you want to take our taxes. I get that. But you can't really regulate Bitcoin, but they're trying, and a part of it's back to the speed bumps, right? The CFTC lawsuit, I think that this was the full purpose of it, Blacksea. They were just trying to hurt Binance, and it was just... They're probably not even going to go to court. Let's see if they do. I bet you they'll just settle. There's rumors that Binance.us is going to get closed down permanently. They have not confirmed or denied that yet. This lawsuit really hasn't even been confirmed or denied. It's kind of wavering still, which is very, very interesting. But $1.6 billion flown out of Binance after this news, which is exactly what they wanted. That's probably...
Yeah, but I will say... Yeah, I will say that. I mean, it didn't really affect the price action on BNB.
No.
Not really, not that much. It's pretty surprising.
Yeah, Binance is still sitting right above $300, which is incredible. Binance was such a strong token, and we've talked about that. It's down like 50% from its peak in the last bull run, which is incredible. Versus a CRO, versus a Cardano, versus a Polygon, whatever you want to look at. Binance was one of the best performing altcoins, or I guess the least bad performing altcoins in the bear market, which is incredible. And I think that's kind of why they're going for the throat. Just more FUD, just trying to move the story against crypto. And here you go. A Senator Elizabeth Warren, who's had many comments on cryptocurrencies saying that it's terrible because there's money laundering going on. Now she's building an anti-crypto army. This is her new campaign. She is going on a re-election campaign for Senate again, for the 100th time, just like all these politicians do. And this time, she's branding herself as an anti-crypto army. Blacksea, does this work, or does she fall flat on her face with this?
I think that it's pretty hilarious that amongst all the crazy things happening in the financial world, that this is where she's leading with this. I think that's absolutely hilarious. How about we get some regulation or some just regulatory clarity? That's all I'm asking for. That's what she should have led with, and I'm sure a lot more people will probably vote for her if she were to do that.
You know what? And you just kind of rang a bell in my head and got me thinking, of all the things happening in the world, this is the thing she focuses on. Well, let's zoom out. Think about why. Why would this be? She liked to fight the banks before, but then also people call her the banking broad because she's actually got donations from the banks during her campaign. So that's kind of weird. But then, well, why is she going after crypto now? Because of money.
Because it's the new bank.
It's money.
The new bank.
Yeah, it's the new bank. It's money. Whether she's anti-crypto or pro-crypto or anti-bank or pro-bank, why do you think she's worried? Why do you think politicians are so worried about banks and crypto companies? Because money. Because money. Yep. And it's gross.
How is Bitcoin gonna pay some lobbyists? It's not gonna happen. It's decentralized. Bitcoin's not gonna pay Senator Elizabeth Warren to talk about how Bitcoin is so great. It's decentralized.
And I can't wait for the presidential debates, for the Senate debate. I'm gonna get a kick. I'm gonna tune in. Not because so I can get a political kick out of anything. I don't really care about that. I care about the political issues that attack crypto, I guess. Let's say that, obviously. I don't want people to crush crypto. So anybody that's anti-crypto, I'm anti your crypto policy. Let's be very clear about that. But I'm very, very curious to see how all these politicians start to talk about Bitcoin and crypto in this next election cycle that's coming up, because there is no doubt in my mind that they will. And that is absolutely crazy. Last stream, Blacksea, we talked about how nobody used to talk about Bitcoin, and then it was on the news a little bit in the bull runs, and then in a bear market, it would kind of go away, and then the next bull run came and there was more in the news, and then the whole bull run, it was on the news every single day last bull run, and then in the bear market, it was still in the news every single day, and now we have a presidential election coming up, and they're going to be talking about crypto in the presidential election. What the heck are they going to talk about?
Cool. That escalated quickly, didn't it? Pretty crazy. We've been talking about this for years now. Crypto Kip and I have been in this since 2016, maybe even a little bit 2015. But we've been talking about, this is going to get adopted. This is a crazy technology. And nobody was talking about it, but they're probably going to be talking about this in presidential elections from now on.
It's coming. I mean, if she's building an anti-crypto army, there's going to be somebody on the other side of that fence. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this plays out, guys. We'll absolutely keep an eye on it. But overall, remember, here's the charts. Let's talk a little bit about it. We were at a $3 trillion market cap in the peak of the last bull market. No wonder they're talking about it all the time. No wonder the politicians can't stop talking about it. No wonder the banks are scared. No wonder they are really just scrambling to fight it. We still have 154% upside. There is still $1.82 trillion that's going to flow into Bitcoin and crypto just to get back to the previous all-time highs. But where's that money going to come from, guys? Is it going to come from the banks? Is it going to come from the stocks of the banks? The bank stocks are falling. Bank stocks are falling right now. Very, very interesting. Where's this money going to come from? And are people feeling threatened by that? Absolutely, because the truth is, we're not just looking at $3 trillion, guys. We're looking at maybe $10 trillion, maybe a $8.64 trillion flow into crypto, possibly even up into the 20s, maybe $22 trillion flowing into crypto. From here, where's that money going to come from? It's coming from somewhere, guys. But the truth is, when you zoom out and you look, over time, Bitcoin's growing. Over time, people are talking more and more about it. Just this morning, how beautiful was this, Blacksea? I mean, we obviously have all these channels. We broke out above this blue channel that I had drawn out. We tested right at 28.9 and actually broke above to $29,200 today. Tomorrow's the last day of the month. Can we get 30K?
I wouldn't be surprised if we could break 30K in this monthly candle close, or maybe to open into the next month. I also wouldn't be surprised if we have a nothing burger and we just trade sideways. I think a lot of people are really, really waiting to see what the Fed is going to do. I mean, we had the biggest Fed meeting ever, last Fed meeting, and now it's Well, let's wait till the next one, you know.
Yeah,
It's and now the next one's the biggest ever, you know. It's
but you know,
there's a
too,
lot. We're in a data driven market. We have to be waiting for this data to know which direction we're headed.
counterparty risk. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that, brother. Thanks for joining us here on the stream. Thank you so much. Very generous of you. Um, but yeah, it's going to be very, and tomorrow too, Blacksea, knowing tomorrow's the very last day of the month, $40 billion in options are expiring tomorrow. That could cause some crazy volatility here. Going to be very interesting. But another thought too, as you're talking about the Fed, which is a great point. Remember how we were talking about the Fed every single day, every single video for 2 weeks leading up to the last FOMC meeting because it was what everybody was worried about. Well, notice we just talked about the Fed and Fed rate hikes kind of for the first time. I mean, kind of. I mean, like, we really haven't dove into the next FOMC meeting. We haven't been talking about the next CPI data that's coming out. We haven't talked about the PCE data that's coming out. We haven't talked about the Fed minutes that are coming out. So I'm actually going to look back at that. I think we got to start talking about that as it's coming up. But what I want to note with that point is the overall market's not talking about that. No influencers are really talking about that right now. So it's kind of interesting. And I want your thoughts on why did that happen? Why did everybody stop talking about it all of a sudden? Do we give up? Does it not matter anymore? Or is there something else I'm missing?
I think because nobody really knows what's going to happen right now because the Federal Reserve is printing money, saying they're not printing money, and they're raising rates at the same time, and nobody knows what's going to happen, even including the Federal Reserve, in my opinion. I think that what they're doing right now is so... I mean, how are you going to raise rates and print money at the same time? Why don't you just raise rates less or don't raise them? I don't know. It seems it's... because they had to print the money to bail out the banks. I mean, instead of bailing out in quotation marks, they say we're going to lend them the money. No, they're bailing the banks out. They're printing money. There's quantitative easing happening. There's money going onto the Fed's balance sheet, which they use to buy stocks. They're doing two of the opposite things at the same time. I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen either. That's really the truth of it all. I'll tell you this though. I think everybody, at least watching the stream right now or tuning into crypto content, does know what's going to happen in one way, and that is that Bitcoin and crypto aren't going anywhere. It's going up over time. That's why we're here. That's why we've been accumulating in this bear market. But to say you know what the Fed's going to do, whether they're going to do quantitative easing or they're going to be raising the interest rates and fighting inflation and not printing money, we don't really know because as you just laid out, you know, it's a rock and a hard place. There's no good option right now, and that's probably part of the reason me too see Saudi Arabia talking about ditching the dollar or at least taking more yuan instead, right? Dealing with China, Brazil ditching the dollar.
Why would they take U.S. dollar if it's going to get devalued and put into oblivion? Why would they? It's a smart business decision.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming, guys. I'll take a quick peek at CRO as well here. Just note, guys, we just talked at the beginning of the stream. We talked about it. First of all, Matt Damon does like crypto.com. He basically said that clear as day. People are trying to paint that picture otherwise. I love crypto.com as well. Look at all the products that they have. But really the story is, guys, is it's another altcoin. It's an altcoin, just like everything else. I think there's a narrative to be had that we talk about on the channel where it's going to go up in a big way, bigger than a lot of altcoins. There's going to be some altcoins that outperform crypto.com. I don't know what they're going to be. I believe in crypto.com personally because of the reasons we lay out on this channel all the time. But it's an altcoin. And all altcoins right now have downside versus Bitcoin. I believe still that we could see another 37 to 40% downside versus Bitcoin for CRO. That doesn't mean it has to go down in US dollar value. That means it could go up. If we get trillions that flow into crypto and all of a sudden we see crypto go up to 1.34 trillion from here, and all of a sudden we get $216 billion flowing into crypto, there's no reason that CRO versus the US dollar couldn't get a good 5-10% rally off something like that. A $1 billion flows into CRO. That's possible. But the argument I'd make is that Bitcoin still looks like it wants to move up. And at any point, guys, that could change. But I do see maybe 40% downside left. But looking historically, getting back to the previous high of CRO versus Bitcoin, if we turn around today, there's still 560% upside for CRO versus Bitcoin. From the bottom of the channel, it's 1,000% upside. There's so many opportunities to make money, guys. It's so fun to do these streams and talk about alts. Please, by the way, throw some questions in the comments down below for Blacksea and I if there's coins you want to talk about, or if there's projects that you're looking at, NFTs, or you just have questions for us about the economy, whatever. If we know the answer, we'll tell you. If we don't know the answer, we'll tell you that too, or we'll give you our idea, and then we'll research it and get back to you. But that being said, Blacksea, I mean, the CRO coin, the altcoin game, what are your thoughts on CRO? I mean, does it have to get to the bottom of this channel, or is it?
No, I'll tell you. I think that no, it doesn't have to, but I do think that it will just be a factor. I just think it will happen naturally because Bitcoin will go up and Bitcoin dominance will increase. But I do think, all in all, there's no reason why, if you have true conviction for a coin and you really believe in the long-term hold of it, then you shouldn't really care about the Bitcoin dominance level. But if you are trading in and out of these cycles, now that's a different story. Then maybe you should be buying Bitcoin, wait for Bitcoin to have that big move to the upside. Once it starts trading sideways, start moving some of those profits into altcoins. Now, Nazar says, is it only worth buying Bitcoin if you're planning to sell and move into alts before the alt rally? No, I don't think so. I think, honestly, buying Bitcoin, especially the way that this narrative is right now in the overall financial world, I think right now buying Bitcoin is probably the safest thing to do to hold for the long term because, I don't want to be a moon boy, but if these banks keep collapsing and the Fed just has to keep printing money, there might be a dare I say it, a super rally, a super, the hyper Bitcoinization, all those buzzwords about Bitcoin going to the moon. But there could be a chance of that. If you couple that with mass adoption, you couple that with massive inflation, hyperinflation, you couple that with regulation being soft-handed, and you couple that with the Bitcoin halvening, it could be a sight to see.
Absolutely. Well said, and great question, Nazar. Blacksea, I think you crushed that answer. Look, you can buy anything you want. You can have your own strategy. Some people just buy Bitcoin because they don't want risk of alts at all, and that's okay too. Bitcoin's great. Bitcoin's easy. It's the biggest one. It's the safest one, you could argue, right? But there's something to be said, and there's a lot of fun in buying some of those alts too after your Bitcoin bag's pumped. But one thing's for sure, and historically in the past, I'll tell you, I've sold all my Bitcoin in previous bull markets, right? And then I usually always end up kicking myself for having sold that Bitcoin. I always want to have some Bitcoin. So choose your own strategy, Nazar. Diversify is good, right? Diversification's good. Note, I do believe there's a lot of upside for altcoins versus Bitcoin at some point. But that being said, right now, Bitcoin's having its rally. And to Blacksea's point, if banks really do collapse and the trillions of dollars that are in banks move into crypto, where do you think they're going to move? Are they going to move into Bitcoin? Or are they going to move into CRO coin? Honestly, guys, you got to be honest with yourself. They're going to move into something like Bitcoin. And then it'll trickle into the alts like CRO, into the exchanges like Binance, like KuCoin, CoinShare, all these other exchanges, and then these DeFi projects as well. So choose your own strategy. The truth is, Nazar, is there's so many different ways you could slice it. There's a lot of ways to play this. You just got to choose the strategy that works for you. The one that doesn't make you stay up at night. The one that allows you to fall asleep at night, right? And maybe that's just not trading at all, or maybe that's trading a conservative amount, or maybe that's trading like crazy and crushing it because you're a killer chart reader. But be careful out there, right? It's a good question. It's a complicated answer.
Yeah, definitely. A question from Andrew Aldrich. In the DeFi wallet, how often should I compound my CRO to maximize the DeFi staking? Do you have any advice on this? You take that one, Crypto Kip.
All right. Yeah, great question, Andrew. Thanks for the question. For me, it would have to depend on how much CRO I had or how much CRO I wanted to have. I'll tell you, Andrew, for me personally, I have crow coming out my ears. I've got so much crow coin. I'm so excited for the bull run, Andrew. I got so much crow coin. It's crazy. But I'm getting a lot of interest. I'm getting a lot of interest on that crow coin, and I am not buying a dime of crow coin with it, but only because I've got so much crow coin. Now, if I didn't have a lot of crow coin, or if I had a mediocre amount of crow coin and I had a taste or a hunger for more crow coin, then it's a fantastic idea to compound that interest and multiply. And then, because then it's compounding on your compound. You can compound that daily if you want. Let's say you make $1 a day, you can compound that $1 a day. And maybe you've heard, right? Would you rather have $1 million today, or would you rather have $1 million today, or would you rather have a penny that doubles every day for the next 30 days? The smart guy picks the penny that doubles every day for the 30 days because you get, I think, $2 million or something like that versus only the million. So compound interest is an excellent tool, but if you feel like you've got a good enough position in Crow, I'd urge you to consider looking at other coins. But if you need more Crow, if you're like, I'm Andrew, I need more Crow, then compound that Crow, brother. Compound the Crow for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's a lot really dependent on how much you have staked, because if you're going to be doing that every single day and you have a minimal amount, you might be getting eaten up by some of the fees, but they are minimal. But if you have a decent size portion, then it's nominal. It won't matter to you. But all in all, like personally, I get my interest off of my rose gold card that I have. And then every couple weeks, I'll take that, put that in my DeFi wallet, and then I'll claim my staked, the Crow I've earned from my stake, and then I put that all together, and then I put it into one transaction and restake that, compound it. But like Crypto Kip said, I think it's really dependent on the stack you have, because if you have a really large stack, then it probably would behoove you to do it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Got another question too. KVI Beats saying, how do you have 40K for a rose gold card? Blacksea, that's a question for you, Blacksea. Do you want to answer? How do you have $40,000 for a rose gold card?
Sometimes it just happens. I've been in crypto for a while and trading, and have made some good moves, have made some poor moves too. But
what a great question.
I give some of my trade signals in my my NFT alpha, my NFT whitelist picks and whatnot on our private Discord. So if you want access to that, sign up, become a member. We've got in the description box below, and you get access to our private Discord.
Yep. Yeah, great answer too. Guys, if you want to find ways to make money, and you guys are looking to, get an eye on, some of our strategies, if you're a member, we're going to get more and more active on the Discord. If you're a member and you're not in the Discord already, get in there, guys. Let's continue the dialogue. Let's keep that thing going. There's not that many exciting things going on right now, but there are some sneaky plays out there. Blacksea's been doing a great job in the NFT space, so that was good for him. But KVI Beats, how do you get 40K for Rose Gold card? You bust your butt, and you work really hard, and you try to stay ahead of the news, and you just stay consistent, right? If you buy during a bear market and you make money into a bull market, thousands of dollars can come to you. That's just how this thing works, right? If you're dedicated, when there's blood in the streets and you're buying, the money comes. That's just kind of how she goes. Got a question from Ron Wilson as well. What are your thoughts on Multiverse X? It used to be Elrond, only hold around 40 of them and have them staked. The constant rebranding is what concerns me. I've heard some concerns about that as well. I've heard some people that are very excited about Elrond as well. I'll tell you though, to be honest with you, Ron Wilson, my research on Elrond is very limited. I think there's a lot more exciting projects out there that I'm focused on. But that being said, you've probably done more research on that coin than me. So, I'm looking for a couple things, and I'm looking for good projects. I'm looking for hype. I'm looking for a good, strong community. I'm also looking for some historical price action that looks good to me, and I'm also looking for, I don't want to have too low of a market cap project because that's a lot of risk. But if I do have a low market cap project, then maybe I'm only going to put a little bit in there because it would hypothetically have some more upside. So I can't truly answer your question probably the way you wanted, Ron Wilson, but I kind of want to give you my thoughts. But Blacksea, do you have any thoughts? At least I don't know how familiar you are with that project are, but if a project you liked was rebranding a lot, would you like that?
I mean, well, MCO, CRO coin, Kronos. It depends. Depends on the fundamentals behind it. If it was through and through, the fundamentals of the project didn't alter significantly, or maybe they had to alter to become a better project, maybe, but I think it really depends on project to project. But you hit the nail on the head. I haven't done enough research to make a educated reply to you.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. I want to respond to you, but to be honest with you, Ron, and guys, this is what you're gonna get from us. You're gonna get our true, unfiltered opinion, and sometimes that opinion is gonna be like, "Hey, I don't know enough about this," and I hope that's what you're looking for out there. Because if somebody just tells you that they think they know something about something and they don't, that would make me angry. So we just want to be as honest with you as we can. And truth is we don't know all the answers, but we're going to keep trying to find as many as we can. And we definitely love crypto, and we're trying to stay ahead of this news as best as we can. Shout out to Nazar. Thanks so much, Nazar. Did confirm for me, if you double a penny every day for 30 days, you'll get 5.4 million. So way better. So there you go, Andrew. Food for thought. Food for thought on your compounding there. Crypto Keeper, thanks again earlier for that super chat, man, asking about Quant. Yeah, I think Quant is definitely a coin to keep an eye on in the next bull run. Not as high of a market cap as some of the other projects, so it could be a little more upside. We'll have to see if Quant really gets it. I still got a little more research to do on it, but I'll tell you one thing. I told you guys what I'm looking for in a project. I'll say one good thing about Quant. There's so much hype around Quant. A lot of people are excited about it. Now, whether it actually becomes a winner in the next bull market, TBD. We'll have to see, but we'll keep digging into it for you. That's for sure. Crowbro, see you love Quant there as well. So Ron Wilson saying it's all good. Appreciate the honesty. And just try not to, BS some answer. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're gonna tell you what it is. Look, if I've got all the deets on something, I'm going to overshare. And if I don't, then I'm going to address that I don't and undershare. And that's what we commit to you guys here on the channel, is you're really going to get the genuine truth of how we feel. And if you want to get more up-to-date thoughts and feelings on what Blacksea and I are doing in the market, join us as a member, guys. Join us as a member. Get into the private Discord as things start to heat up, and as Bitcoin bags start to go up, and we're looking to diversify our Bitcoin plays into some alts. We're going to be telling you guys about that as we're buying some NFT projects that are launching as the bull market heats up and new things come out that we think is hot. We're going to be telling you guys about that in our Discord, because there's going to be so much money that we can make, guys, in this next bull market. It's so exciting, guys. It's so exciting. Smash up the like button. And subscribe to the channel, guys. If you haven't subscribed, if you haven't hit the like button, if you want to hit the like, all you got to do is exit out of the live chat, smash that like button. You can hop right back in, and then tell somebody else to subscribe as well. Well, that's really all we got here, guys. Just remember, I want to show you guys, too, we are doing well. Bitcoin's up 21% so far for March, which is pretty spectacular. Liquidations are a little bit cooled off right now. A big short squeeze could drive us up to that $30,000 point, so we'll keep an eye on these for you guys as well. But do know, we are giving away a loaded lion when we hit 25,000 subscribers on this channel, guys. Just follow us at _crypto report for the details to this giveaway. And if you are a member on this channel, you get an additional 10 entries for every single month you're a member towards this giveaway. And we'll do more giveaways in the future, guys. All you got to do is go in the link in the description down below to join or here, and you'll get access to everything we just talked about and more. That's all I got. Hey, Blacksea, you got any parting words here for this Crow fan, for this crypto community, for anybody getting ready for the bull market?
Yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I always have a blast talking with you. It's really fun to pick each other's brains, answer each other's questions, and, sometimes you guys make me think of some questions and, help me embolden my strategy. So I really appreciate that. And thanks so much for watching, guys. I can't wait to see you in the next one.
Absolutely, guys. That's all we got. I am Crypto Kip. That was Blacksea. This is the Crypto Report. Do not forget to smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, folks, you got to remember, DCA, HODL, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. We will see you next time. Peace.